Oh, we're live right now. So, yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone had a great day so far. My name is Shadi Zachary bin Shenazudin, prefect from Scholar Tot Koraman, and the representative from the Wachana Pumimpin Moody's committee. I'm honored to host these three individuals named Raja Muhammad Harith bin Abdul Halim, was from Malay College Kuala Kangsar, who scored 8 A pluses and 1 A for SPM, and who is under the Bank Negara Malaysia Scholarship. Next, we have Nur Huda Adillah binti Madridzuan, who was from Sekolah Tun Fatimah and scored an astonishing straight A pluses, who is under the JPA PPN Program Penajaan National Scholarship. And lastly, we have Ainin Husna binti Muhammad, who was from Sekolah Seri Putri, who scored 7 A pluses and 2 A's for the SPM and is under the JPA Mars Scholarship. Yeah, do you three have anything to say to the audience? Yeah, thank you. So before I start this dialogue, to all you participants, if you can ask questions throughout the dialogue, we won't mind. You can answer. To do that, type in your number in the comment section to register. How? For example, if Star wants to ask, Star could type in number 1, and the corresponding school can ask number 2. Type in number 2 in the comment section. Then I recommend everyone asking questions, because I'm sure everyone here will learn something new, and at the end of the Q&A, we'll be hosting a brief Q&A session. So yeah, keep that in mind. So let's start off our dialogue for today. Unique experiences, number 1. Being the head prefect comes with many challenges, such as many challenges, different challenges, troubles. And how did you three cope these different challenges, and what were your exclusive initiatives when you were back in school? Let's start off with Raja. Sorry, can't hear you. Can't really hear you. All right, let's start. Okay, let's move on to Ainin. Let's start with Ainin. Ainin Muhammad, what were your different challenges, and how did you cope with these challenges?
Bismillah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. All right, different. Bismillah. Before that, Assalamualaikum and hi, all KPs and PKPs, all high comms, and also thank you to the moderator. Actually, when I was thinking about this question, honestly, I think like everyone has a different, very different definition of unique. If you are saying that, if I was thinking about if there was any heroic moments that I did, for example, when the school was caught on fire and I saved someone's life, but that didn't happen. So that I cannot tell that story. So I guess that my experience was not that unique, and I think it's quite very normal. All KPs experience this, and that is the very heavy workload, as you have to lead the school at the same time, and you have to be a student, be a leader, and also be a student. But what one different thing compared to my previous KP was that during my year 2019, there were new rules implement, like many new rules. So the very challenging part was that to actually deliver to the students and to like really tell the students about the new rules. Of course, there would be like, why new rules and stuff. So that was quite challenging. At first, when the new rules was implemented, the students, of course, was quite rebellious. Not rebel, but it's like they don't like the new rules. So what if you experience this later on? What you have to really do is that you have to really yes, the new rules comes from the teacher. So and the teacher asks you to deliver it to the student, to tell the students about the new rules. But I mean, don't just it's not a one-way conversation. It's not just from the teachers to the students. You have to, when you tell the students about the new rules, you have to also ask for the students if they have any suggestions or opinions that they think are better compared to what you tell them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because when you are a KP and a PKP, you're not I would say you are not the teacher's pet. You are not doing, you don't have to do anything. I mean, you don't have to do everything that the teachers tell you to do. You can like fight back. I mean, not the bad way, but you can like explain if you have any better suggestions. Don't just accept everything and um, accept everything. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
ask for suggestions and stuff. So I think that was the unique one, because before my year, the rules are all the same. So it was quite tough.
So when you made these new rules, what did your friends think about this? Were they happy about it? Were they mad about it?
Of course, the uh, it's rare for us to like rules, like how people, when we say don't, we tend to like, oh, do it, like, oh, don't look at this, then we were like, oh, I will look at this. So people behavior is like, we tend to not follow the rules. So of course they didn't like it at all. But yeah, that's at first. But towards the end of the year, everyone actually okay je. They follow the rule. Like and there was this one rule that uh, had been introduced during my year as well, which was the Kailullah. So before, like 2018 and before, um, our lunch break was only 1 hour. Then
1 hour, yeah.
during my year, it became 1.5 hour because we added Kailullah. We added Kailullah. However, even though the teacher told us to like take a longer break so that we can take a nap, Qailullah, and rest so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we can refresh ourselves afterwards. The students, like, teachers tell us to sleep. Of course, we don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
The students keep roaming around. So to make sure that we can maintain the 1.5 hour of lunch break, we have to make sure that all of the students really use
Sleep.
that time to rest well. And that takes a lot of courage as well, and also effort to constantly tell the students, oh, please kailullah, or else our lunch break will um, return to 1 hour, and we don't want it. Who does not want 1.5 hour of lunch break? So you have to keep making efforts and tell the students so that we can achieve like everyone will be comfortable at school. Yeah.
That does sound like a really good idea, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
let's move on to our next panelist. Let's ask Nur Huda Adila about her different what she stumbled upon, her different obstacles and her exclusive initiatives.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, 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 I can
Okay,
hear.
so first of all, hello to every head prefect and vice head prefect of SBPs. I can actually really relate with Ainin because I also, imposed a new rule back in my year. Um, we had a roll call before dinner, so everyone had to, um, do an assembly at our tennis
Yeah,
court, like at 6:30, and then just to make sure everyone go to dinner, and to make sure we have full attendance during night prep. So yeah, it was hard. It is actually very hard to impose a new rule if you do one, because people are just too used in adapting, people are just too used with the old rule. People are used with their old schedules, so when you impose a new rule, it's kind of hard for them to adapt. But along the way, they will try to get used to the new rules. So that might be the solution for the problem. So I can say maybe the hardship that I went through was adapting to be the head prefect itself in the first place, in the early stage, because back when I was in Form 4, I was only the vice secretary. I wasn't really the vice head prefect. So I
yeah.
wasn't um, exposed to the
So, so
responsibilities
yeah.
and tasks, yeah, of being the head prefect itself. So how I overcame it was, with the help of my teachers. Of course, they helped me a lot through the delegating tasks and even doing my own work, and also my other board members. So task delegation is actually very important. You have your other members as well to help you along the way. So yeah, I think that is important. And I don't really have, just the same as Ainin, I don't really have like a really unique one, because yeah, I didn't even save someone from fire, as just like Ainin said, or do something special. But yeah, I think that's the only thing. Uh, Sorry, that's the only thing that was, I mean, maybe a challenge that I went through back in my year. So yeah, Roger.
All right, thank you.
Oh, oh,
Let's move on to our final panelist, Raja Muhammad Arif. What were your different troubles that you faced back in school, and how did you cope with these troubles? No, I can't really hear you.
So trying to technically.
Hold on, give me a sec. I'm trying to fix something. Raja, could you try closing the app then restarting it? Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Oh yeah. Let's go back to Nurhuda. How did you negotiate with your teachers about adding or removing certain rules?
so, um, in adding or removing rules, first of all, you need to, go see the teacher and, really discuss about imposing a certain rule. Um, Obviously, you would need to do paperwork, but you can delegate that task to your secretary, of course. But imposing a new rule, you really need to, also if you have more time, you can do a survey among students. Like, would they actually, you know, would they be okay with the rule that you implement, and would it like bug their normal schedules and all? But yeah, I can say it's basically you discussing formally and discussing well with your teachers and the students as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So did this affect your studies when doing the tons of paperwork?
Um, Basically, I think it is manageable because, like, as I can say, like, if
Sorry,
you
hello.
delegate your task. Oh, Raj is back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm back. Oh, thank
Yeah,
God.
thank God.
Thank God.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Back at it again. Oh, if you delegate your task properly, like your workload wouldn't be like as much as you expect it
As
to
much,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you manage everything well, you give this task, oh, secretary, you need to do this and all, like it doesn't seem a lot. It's like actually manageable than you thought it would be. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Now let's move on to Raja Muhammad Arif. What were your different troubles, and how did you uh, get
Okay,
through these?
finally, you can actually hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can actually hear you.
Oh, thank the Lord. Okay, so yeah, I mean, things about like Ainin and Huda said, rules, I think I'm not sure about them, but for me, the rules I changed were rules that they weren't passed down from teachers. I wanted to change the rules themselves. For example, I changed two things. Things that I vividly remember. First of it is that regarding like Baju Melayu rules, especially for prep time, because usually it's
Yeah,
Baju Melayu kain pelikat for
yeah,
juniors, and then Sedondon for a senior. But then I changed it to like anyone, you can wear whatever you want any day. So basically, the point of that rule is to actually make people encourage inclusion, I guess, inclusion among the students. Social cohesion of the school itself to improve. I think you have to get everyone on the same wavelength in the first place. And then second of all, I did was opening up the futsal courts to like basically juniors. I mean, usually, to be fair, it was pretty much hogged by the seniors, right? But now there are multiple futsal courts, and then you can access pretty much anything you want. So I mean, that's another thing that I did again to encourage inclusion, encourage the diversity of the school, and to decrease the disparity between students, especially seniors and juniors, right? And yeah, so yeah, about those things, the challenges, those things itself is no a big thing because like they've never been changed in the years before this. They
yeah,
have been like that for like maybe decades, but I just came along and changed it because I wanted to. But to be fair, no one really actually objected to the change in rules. And and then to be fair again, I actually before I even implemented those rules, I discussed it. Discussing the implementation of those rules is important in the first place to get other people's viewpoints, whether it be prefects, non-prefects, your batchmates, teachers, juniors itself. So I asked around before I actually implemented them. So that's one thing I think you should take into account. And then, talking about like unique challenges, right? I mean, jumping from, let's move away from rules lah. And then, but one of the unique challenges is that in like Malay College, if you hold the position of head boy, you have to hold it until the end of the year. There's no passing down in the middle of the year. Okay, you have to focus on your SPM. So now we give it to the juniors. There's no such thing. You have to hold it and do your job until you graduate. You can say so. The challenge is to stay motivated. Motivation is key. And then by the end, to be fair, like once you reach August or October, when you're in trials, you're basically in study mode. But I think by that time, maybe you won't be so delve into the work of head prefect by that time, because by that time the juniors would have stepped up. Your form 4 prefects, if you have form 3 prefects, would have stepped up. But in that case, by October, what I think the motivation is to actually just continue leading by example, I guess, just being there present as as the head boy or head girl, and and to just not really assert yourself as that you still have authority over the school. So yeah, that's one of the unique challenges like I face personally. So yeah.
yeah. I completely agree with you. Yeah. So let's move on to our second topic for today, which is how we strike a fair balance between your academics and your leading. So, like I said before, each and every one of you had seven, eight, A pluses, eight A pluses, and even straight A pluses. So, and that's not even that's a really hard thing to do. To top it all off, you were three of you held the position of head prefect. So, how did you balance both being that leader that you were and getting amazing, amazing grades? This is an open question. Anyone can answer.
Who do I want to go first? Or I want me to go first?
Yeah.
You can go first, Roger.
Yeah, I think I'll go first. Okay, disclaimer, I only got straight A's in the final exam only. So don't be discouraged. Before that, I never got straight A's, only got 8. 8 in the trials, 8 in the mid-year, 8 in the first exam, 8 in the second exam. So only got straight A's in the last exam. So please don't be discouraged if you don't get straight A's your whole year. Yeah. So like, but I think like regarding balance, right? I'm gonna talk like from a like philosophical point of view. Philosophical, I guess. It's like basically, you know, I hope that this position of head prefect is not forced upon you. You know what I mean? I really hope that the position that you get is something that you wanted. Not to say that you want to get, or I mean, your name's going to be on the board, that's for sure, of your own school. But like, it's something that you want because you find joy, I guess, in like doing work, in doing good work for the school. So I think once you get to that point of like epiphany, once you realize that, okay, oh, actually, I'm head prefect, and then you don't, of course, there's going to be challenges. It's a year of like like hardship, right? Hardship of balancing. But then if you find the joy in it, if you find the joy in leading, as well as realizing the importance of studying, I honestly don't think that's going to be a huge problem of balancing your academics as well as your leadership, because the job scope is not the same. While you had prefect, you can still study the same amount as those who have nothing at all on their plate, maybe even more. So that's from my perspective. So my advice is that, to find your purpose, I guess, in leading, like why you want to lead, and hopefully you can find the joy in doing it. Yeah, that's for me.
So, did you have any study tips that you had?
Oh, study tips. Well, I think study tips really varies from person to person, but for me, I was a late night, so I always burn the midnight oil. So yeah, 12. I mean, I was on the daily from like 12 to 2 lah. That's for me, but it really depends on every one of you. And yeah, but to be fair, I think you're all really smart people.
All right, let's move on to our next panelist. Anyone wants to answer? Nurhuda, Ainin?
Hello. Okay. So yeah, I totally agree with Raja. You really need to have that mindset of, you want to be that leader itself. Like it's not forced upon you. And I can say you can also do like a simple weekly to-do list. This is like on the practical side. Yeah. Like just to put, I need to finish this by this week. So like you're a bit organized for that week, and like yeah, you don't have that much of a problem to juggle both your academics and your prefect work and all. And I can say you really need to have the initiative to go to your friends if you tend to go to competitions or you miss classes. So like you need to go back to your friends and like ask them what they learned and all, and just take the time to um and ask them like what the teacher like told you in class or anything, and do your work that the teacher told you to do. For study tips, I think it's very essential just to do this one basic thing, just to focus in class. Like this applies to whenever you go, like wherever you go, like even in university life, you need to focus in class. Like that would really help, because if you already have the basic concept and you understand in class itself, it would be really easier for you to revise and then do your work afterwards. So yeah, I think you need to master this basic thing first, which is to just focus in class and don't slack off. Yeah, Ainin? What do you have to say?
I totally agree with Huda and Raja, and I really relate a lot with Raja when he said that he never got straight A's and only got straight A's during the final exam, because yes, I was like that too. Only straight A's during my SPM. Before that, no, it's like sciences, like especially. So don't be discouraged at all. Don't worry too much about your result. And I totally agree that uh, we have to focus in class, and as well as you have to want to be the leader. Like you are not forced to be the leader, or else throughout the whole year you won't be liking what you are doing, and that's a huge problem lah. And I think the one more important thing is that um, you have to make full effort. For example, if you are going to skip class because you have competition or persidangan or whatsoever, you have to make an effort to meet the teachers and before you go, and ask beforehand if there are any handouts, if what are the teachers going to teach when you are gone, so that you can revise by yourself when you are at the competition. Going to
Yeah.
competition does not mean that you can leave everything behind. You have to like still bring books, uh, so that you, because you are so busy. KP and PKP are so busy, as well as the high comms. So you have to make full use of each second in your life to actually study. Uh, so I think that's all. Everything
100%,
else is the
100%.
same as
Yeah.
Huda.
So let's move on to our third topic on what you think a leader should be. So as we all know, leaders all have their own characteristics, their own stereotypical characteristics, such as uh, being disciplined, being neat and tidy, being punctual, and being confident. You need to be confident in being on giving orders to your peers. So, what do you think are uncommon traits, rare traits that leaders should have, leaders right now should have, to separate them from being an average leader to a great leader? It's an open question to anyone can answer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll go first again. All right, so I think I have two for this actually. So we'll go one by one. First, I think leaders these days in SVPs, right? You should be a visionary. Kena ada
Yeah.
visi. You need to have like, what are your goals basically? So I think as KP, right, you're not basically just representing your prefectorial board. You're representing the school. So you can actually go further and then set like, okay, what are my goals for the school? And this applies to like academics, co-curriculums. Like, for example, how many straight A students do you want this year? What do we want to get out of like curriculum? Do you want to get champion for rugby? Do you want to get champion for debate? Champion for basketball? And so on. So like, for example, what I did, okay, it's pretty much like a balance, because at the same time I was head prefect, also batch president. So to apply that, one of the things I did was to actually like to get them, the students, right, especially the Form 5s, to actually like want to contribute to the school. And the way I did it was to like introduce a mantra, was what we said, like I said, let's make this a year to remember, basically. So we put that everywhere. Put in our magazine, put that on our, I don't know, books, put in our boards. Let's make this a year to remember. And that basically encompasses everything that you want to achieve in your school. Basically make it a memorable year, make it a really good year. And then once you get that to like, oh, what does that mean? Well, it applies to everything. Good academics, good sports, good relationship with the juniors, good relationship with the teachers. And then basically the aim that, me and my friends, my, fellow batch committee, what we plan, our long-term vision was that when we leave school, people like still be talking about us, the good things, the good things that we left behind, not the bad things. So I think that's one thing you should take into mind, is that actually leaving a mark on the school in the first place, but in a very, very positive way. So that's one. And I think the second one I have is actually to like fully immerse yourself in the school community. Because like, yeah, I mean, okay, I get leaders, like, we have to be confident You have to be, not really, disciplined, a bit strict sometimes, but always remember that where did you come from? You came from like among your friends that you were selected. So please do not, once you become leader, please do not become an eagle that hovers above everyone, thinks they're superior, flying above. You're just on the ground with everyone else, but with a responsibility to take care of them. So that's what one thing you should take in mind is that the leader is not like someone bossing around, but like actually like, pulling them with you, or actually to the extent of pushing them from behind. If you get my analogy, I guess. So
Yeah.
so those two things, visionary and fully immersing yourself with the rest. That's from me.
Next up, do you have what do you think, Noor Huda, about these traits, these uncommon traits?
Yeah, I totally agree with Roger again. About the visionary point, for my batch, we really had this goal of, trying to beat the record from our previous seniors, like our what do you call that? SPM record. Yeah. We tried like, let's try to set a new record for SPM this year. And Alhamdulillah, we actually got to beat the actual record, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, setting a goal for your school and for your batch itself is very important in the first place. And if I were to talk about another trait, I can say adaptability and readiness. So to explain more about this point, um, like you can never expect what goes in your way. Like you need to be flexible in approaching, hardships because they can come anytime, like anytime, anywhere. So you need to be ready every time, and yeah, you can never expect what to come when even when you plan like beforehand. You plan, alhamdulillah, inshallah, like it's gonna be smooth for this event, but sometimes like hardships can come suddenly, so you need to be very ready and adaptable in those sense. And another point I have is, as a leader itself, you need to know how to take criticisms constructively. So to explain this point, your goal shouldn't be to please people, and like you need to take comments and criticisms, like you need to digest them. Some of them are actually good for you to improve yourself in the future, but some of them are actually just negative and like kind of not that good for you. So you need to know which comment to take into account to for you to improve yourself. So yeah, that's all.
And let's move on to Ainin. Ainin, what do you think? Different characteristics?
Okay. Once again, I totally agree with Raja and Huda. Their ideas are so brilliant, and yeah, I totally agree. And if I'm going to add another trait, it is to be a good follower. I mean, a good leader is also a good follower. And what I mean by a good follower is that you are being a good servant to your God, to Allah. Because by you have to like improve your relationship with Allah, because by that we can see whether you can really manage your time or not. By maintaining your relationship, your good relationship with Allah, we can see whether you are able to prioritize things or not. When we see whether you think that taking lunch is more important than praying, or we can see whether you just uh, for example, you have lunch break. Then during your lunch break, your 1 hour lunch break, you have to meet the teachers. And you only meet the teachers for half an hour. Then you only have half an hour, for example, to rest, to lunch, and to pray. So by that, we can see what is your choice. Are you going to pray first, or are you going to lunch first? Then if you are not going to pray on time, then we can see whether you how you really take your responsibility as a servant. If you are a good servant, I believe that you are also a good leader. It doesn't matter whether you are a KP or not. Even normal students, non-prefects, if they are a good servant, then they are capable to become a good leader as well. So I think if you cannot maintain a good relationship with God, then you have to rethink and try to improve, because that's a very important, because whether you can handle your daily tasks or not, it depends on God. And if you don't rely on him, and if you don't be a good servant to him, how are you going to do all of your daily
Yeah.
tasks? So yeah.
So, anyways, building a network is also an important characteristic or an effort in being a leader. So, considering that each of you knew each other back in school, did you, considering each of you knew each other back in school, how did you know other people outside of school and built your network from there?
So this question is regarding networking, with like
Yeah, network.
other KPs or other than that?
Anyone in general, yeah.
Oh, anyone in general. Well, I think, I mean, for that question, I mean, well, for KP wise, I mean, in 2019, we had this KP and Vice KP convention, right? So we met everyone there. So that was pretty fun. But for you guys, I think we have this. So it's a substitute due to the COVID-19. So yeah, we can a bit, yeah. But then, I mean, networking, if you're asking that question, I mean, you really get, get to know other people from like the extra co-curriculum activities you do, I guess. From the, if you're rugby player, then rugby players from the schools.
Yeah.
If you win orchestra play, win orchestra plays from other schools, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, networking in itself is actually really important because you can actually learn so much from different schools, and you can improve and impose things that are good in different schools in your own schools. There are numerous examples, but as for now, I don't seem to have one, but like, yeah, I think that is actually clear.
So did you share any ideas with these schools, like to make your school way more better?
Because like during the conference, like during the conference itself in 2019, when I met the different KPs, especially from like, I think it was like from Kisas, and I think it was from Kisas and some of I think from Kisas especially, and actually from SMSS. So like there had boys, I think what I wanted wasn't really like a change that I wanted to bring to the school, but it's pretty much a change that I wanted to see in myself from like these other really good leaders as well. So like I think I can pick from these other friends, right? My other networks from Kisas, SMSS, like their humbleness, especially how they were really down to earth, how they're really nice in person, as a person itself really nice. So I think that's one thing you can take in itself, and you can't expect to take different rules from different schools and then copy and paste to your school, but like pretty much like absorb what you can and what you want, the good things especially.
Anyone else wants to share their opinions? No one? All right, cool.
I think it's just the same as Raja during the conference. Yeah.
Conference. Yeah. All right. So our final agenda for today. Oh, sorry. First of all, the participants can ask any questions. Just type in the numbers in the comment section. You can answer. You can ask anytime. We're all happy to answer. So let's move on to our final agenda, our final topic for today, which is what you three wish for future change in SPP culture. So three of you were in, got amazing, brilliant grades for SPM. Therefore, you three got in prestigious schools, prestigious colleges in Malaysia. And through these colleges, I'm sure each and every one of you had fresh new environments, fresh new cultures that just fresh new cultures. So what do you think if you had one day on turning back time and going back to school, what certain cultures should be thrown away and what culture should be brought from the better, much better environments and should be implemented into your school?
Huda, I want to go first.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so to answer this question, actually Raja and I discussed about this because this is kind of a tough one. Basically, like that, the cultures that SPPs have these days are sufficient enough, to create an excellent student and all. And I can say it is actually like kind of vice versa, I think, because like um in college we're actually more free to do like what you want, and we don't have a
Yeah, true,
certain
yeah.
time schedule and all. And I can say like the cultures that we have in SBPs these days are enough, and is very good, because you have like a certain time where you need to study, which is night preps, and
Yeah.
even morning preps in the weekends and all. And if I were to say a thing that you can bring after you finish high school to your university life, is continue to take the night prep time and just make it a time where you study as well in the future. It would really help, because at least you study every day at that time, like from 9 to 11, per se. Like you should implement that time schedule as well in your future, not just like in high schools. Yeah, I think that is the thing that I can comment. Raja, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, because like, okay, being here in like in international school, right? And then the things that I learned, that one of the things that you can imply, anyway, let me rephrase that. Let me make it clear that SBP culture is actually very different from school to school. And then, some SBPs maybe not have as in-depth cultures as, older SBPs or different SBPs in comparison. But like, one of the things that you can actually apply in SBPs, like in this school, for example, you have like the freedom to actually, meet the teachers and then conduct programs. So for example, like if you want to like create a new club in this school, you can just go up to the teachers like, hey sir, can I create a new club? It's called this and this. The vision is this and this, and we want to achieve this and this. So like basically the message trying to bring forward to you guys is actually to have the flexibility, and then to like change things or bring new change to the school that you never thought about. And then it doesn't really apply to like cultures that you want to eradicate. I mean, those are inside things, I guess, and it applies to each of your schools. But like more things that are actually visible, that things that you can change. So maybe like you can initiate like clubs and societies in your school. You don't have to do it yourself, but you can, you know, introduce the idea that you have this flexibility, that the students have a voice, and you can go to the teachers and actually make changes to the schools itself. So maybe one thing. So that brings us to the point where a change that you want to bring to SBP cultures actually to interact more with the teachers, rather than just receiving orders and such from teachers. Yeah. So yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Ainin, have anything to say?
Yeah. Uh, I will add. I think one thing that if if I'm going to return, if I'm returning to my school, and I'm given this opportunity to actually change something, I think it is to give equal opportunity to everyone. Uh, for example, this is specifically in competitions where some school have bitara, like some school is special in wind orchestra, while some is good at basketball, for example. So, but the students that are accepted in the basketball team are always the students who already are already talented in basketball. While the students who participated in public speaking are the ones who um, extroverted, for example, because they were picked by the teachers, for example. The teachers pick them to participate in public speaking competition because the teachers see that they always talk in class. Well, actually, there are some introverted students, some quiet students who are very eager to participate in such competition as well, but they do not given the chance to do so because people do not see their potential. Audition, there's no audition. So I think you can you can try to start equal opportunity when there are competitions. Tell the teachers to like make an audition so that all students can actually participate and try, so that it's not just the same person that can participate in that competition, but as well as maybe new faces. And competition is not all about school. Yes, of course, when the same person participate in the same competition, maybe there's a higher chance of winning. And yeah, maybe for example, okay, SSP will become number one again this year for this competition. But it's not always about school. It's about the students too. So if you can really give equal opportunity to all students, it will be better.
All right, thank you. So this final question is also related to the change in SPP culture, which is what method on appointing a ketua pelajar or a head boy or head girl you think is best? We have democracy style, where students pick who should be the next head boy or head girl, or do you prefer the classic teachers picking who they prefer, who they like more? What kind of method do you think is best?
Yeah, I think touching on that, you can look at it from a few perspectives, lah, and then you can lay out the consequences of each. So, like, if you go full on students, right, the good thing is that, the students actually know who you are in real life, who you are as a person, because, your batchmates and your friends and your juniors are with you 24 hours of the day compared to your
Yeah.
teachers, right? So that'll be a good point. But then the bad point is that, well, there might be some people who are elected into the position because of popularity contest. So by then it'll be, a bad consequence. Maybe they can't really perform the duties. On the same side, on the other side, for teachers, they might be, inclined to maybe pick students who they are close with, so that would be a consequence. So maybe the best way to actually merge the two of them, which is actually apply in this school I'm in right now. To become prefect, you have to get voted, but then even if you are voted in, they will still be deliberated over by the teachers, like how you are from their perspective. So there might be a 50-50 weightage into merging, into actually choosing one prefect. So yeah, maybe that can be, brought to your respective schools.
Yeah. And in Muhammad, Nuhuda, any thoughts about this?
Yeah, SSP system is also the same as MCKK, and I think it is important as well to take perspective and take the opinions from both sides, from the students and also from the teachers, because being a head prefect, I mean head girl or head boy, we are not just on the student side, but also we are on the teacher's side. So we cannot always by if you are chosen by the teachers as well as the students, that would be better, because the students and also the teachers will know that they can cooperate with you. I think that's it.
Yeah. Huda, any thoughts?
Yeah, I also agree with Raja and Eileen, of course. It's important to, find a middle ground between the teachers electing the students and also the other students voting for who they want the leader to be. If all of you were to impose like this election ways like in the future, maybe you can do like the teachers elect a few leaders for the position, and then the students can vote among those elected people which one they prefer for the leader to be and all. So this is just like a suggestion for like all of you leaders if you want to impose it in the future. Yeah, I think that's all.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna start off Q&A session. Just putting this out. You can anyone who wants to ask a question or anyone who wants to answer a question, you can talk in mixed languages. You can talk in VM. You can talk in English. I don't really mind. So let's start off our Q&A session. Give me a sec. So Kusess, Kuseess. What's your question? Switch on your mic and yeah.
Okay. My name is Muslimin Azif Imran, and I'm from Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuala Selangor. As I was chosen as a ketua pelajar or head prefect by the administrators only. The normal teachers and students didn't have a say in my election as ketua pelajar. So right now I'm very conflicted in gaining their trust and support. So I have two questions. Anyone can answer. How do you gain the trust of the teachers? And second question, how do you gain the support of the students?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huda or Ainin, do you have any
No,
answers to that?
I think
Or do
I
you
can
want to-
answer that first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Huda? Yeah.
Okay. So, to gain trust from teachers, to answer the first question, I think it's just how to do it is just like to, do your work efficiently and just, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Hello?
you.
Yes.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear
Hello.
you.
Yeah.
Boleh.
She can't hear us.
Okay, so to answer the first question, okay. So to answer the first question, I think it's very important for you to do your work, to do your work and make sure you execute it the best that you could. And for the second question, how to gain trust among your hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's okay. I'll just answer the question then. For the second question, how you gain trust among your peers? I think it's important for you to just as Raja said, as like before, to lead by example. So if you show a good example and you follow the rules before you tell them to follow the rules itself, I think at some point they will actually put their trust in you, and you would actually eventually gain respect among your peers. So yeah, I think the point to answer the second question is to lead by example.
By example, yeah.
That's all.
Let's move on to our next question from Semester, Semesta, Semester. What's your question? Semester?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Chris Muhammad, and the Vice Chancellor of Chancellor. I have a few questions for all of you. So, the first one, how do you influence other people to change? I mean, obviously, us as a leader, most of us are supposed to have the best characteristic, the best traits. I mean, the ideal of our students. So how do you actually influence other students to make changes for themselves and for the better? That's for the first one. And for the second one, um, how do you negotiate with teachers that only just want things to go on their way? I mean, the teachers that never accept your ideas, and the type of teachers that always want things to go their way.
Yeah.
And the third one, the last one is throughout this year we've been through a lot of things. It's been 4 months we've been in online learning, so
Online
we
class.
still
Yeah.
have chances. We still have chances to we still have chances to change this for school. I mean, in terms of doing
Right.
something. Yeah, hope you get what I mean.
Yeah, I can touch on the first question and second question because I have personal experiences, right? So I think the first one to clarify, right, from my point of view, I think the goal of the head prefect itself, the vice head prefect, it's not really to influence people. It's not really
Yeah.
to change the whole school to be this perfect model problem-free school. I think it's pretty well known that it's quite impossible to achieve that. But then if you really want to bring change, I mean, especially if you're touching on maybe who are students are quite problematic, maybe even ill-disciplined or something like that. If that's what you're implying, then I think then influence really then comes into actually not really using. If you can't really be the medium, you have to employ other people to be their medium to bring change. You get what I mean? So really, you're not in this alone. You can really employ anyone, your friends. You have numerous friends who can actually bring that change itself. The responsibility is not on you. You don't have the direct responsibility on your shoulders to bring change to the whole school. You can delegate tasks. That's the most important thing. So I think to really influence, maybe it's actually why don't you get some other friends, some other prefects to get along with you, because it's not a one-man team show regarding influence. Okay, I hope that answers the question. And then secondly, regarding teacher negotiations, and then really, well, to be fair, from the teacher side, is that they really have things to uphold. They really have things to consider before, letting some things go our way. And this applies to me, programs that, I held, that I had to coordinate, and there were some things that I disagreed with. And then I think the way that we actually meet in the middle at the end was to we have to give our really solid reasons why this thing will work. If you have things that want to change to it, and the teachers really don't want to budge, really outline why do you think these things would work. I mean, and then and actually maybe I don't know, these days people write petitions and stuff, maybe not write a petition to the teachers, but actually yeah, make it well known that the support of all the students, you have the support of students who actually want to bring that change um, to the school as well, which requires teacher negotiations. So yeah, you have to be quite diplomatic, I guess, to the teachers in that sense.
Uh,
Uh, yeah.
Thank you. So let's move on to our third question from Spisma, from Lukman and Shafika. What are your questions? By all means.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. First, I am Nur Syafika binti Yunus from Sekolah Menengah Sains Utama Mahmud. I have only one question to ask on how to handle our organization if some prefects do not follow the rule. Yeah, I mean, the prefects themselves, some of them break the rules. So how to cooperate with such these people? Thank you.
Anyone?
Huda or Aini, you want to take it?
Bismillah. Okay. I think I'll take this question. First of all, I think that all school experience this problem. There won't be 100% prefect who are perfect. So to if you're thinking that to handle them, you cannot expect that you cannot expect that you can actually change them. Okay, they love breaking the rules. We won't be able to do anything if they do not want to change. But you can always advise them and also tell them that you are perfect, so please do your work. Please lead. Please be a good example to other students. You have to like, is it main dengan kata-kata, like arrange your words carefully, like advise them constantly, watch them. At least the least that you can do is that make sure that when they are with you, they follow the rules. At least when you are around, at least make them follow the rules. If when you are not around, then they do not follow the rules, then we cannot do anything about that. Don't stress too much about that, because we are only normal people. I mean, we are just like I think Raja said just now, we leaders are just normal students with a greater responsibility. It does not mean that we can actually change everything that we want. So I think don't stress too much about it. There will be people like that, but just constantly advise them and watch them, be with them, so that they can follow the rules, as you said. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You two have any other thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, what Aini said is, sorry, Huda, but like, yeah, what Aini said is like, 100% correct. And yeah, that's, well, there's no, I can't refute that argument from Aini.
Yeah, if I were to add, like, if it's like too severe, this prefect like is too problematic or something, you can take the initiative to actually talk to your teachers and to re-interview them. um I did, I remember doing this like in a few years, I think, back when I was in high school. So these prefects would be re-interviewed, and actually if they the teacher would advise them to drop their position if they really would not want to continue being a prefect. So that's just, another solution if you were to implement it in the future. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Huda. Just reminding everyone here, you can talk in both languages, Malay or English, we don't mind. So let's move on to our next question from SMS TSP, Muhammad Harith Haikal.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I have a question regarding on how to ensure that seniors are also as adhere as juniors in terms of adhering to school rules, because seniors always tell the juniors what they can and can't do, but on the first place the seniors does not do what they should have do. So to anyone that could answer these questions, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about the senior and junior part, I mean, it's pretty clear cut that it happens in pretty much most schools, right? So to improve on the seniors part, again, employability. You really, really, really need to have maybe in your prefect organization itself, prefects who have the leverage, who have the influence over these so-called individuals who actually maybe don't follow the rules themselves. So that's why I think it's important to have a prefectorial board that's quite diverse. Not to have a prefect board that's, pretty much all of them really, really good students with, who really adhere to the rules. You need to have some prefects, not a lot, please not a lot, but some prefects who actually have that influence over those students, if you get what I'm saying. So like to actually, yeah, and then maybe, if you're a head prefect, but then in your batch you maybe you don't have that high of a position, really, cooperate with your batch president, cooperate with whoever is the leader of your batch to really, to get to the practicality of it. Maybe, you can conduct any meetings, you can tell them what in your, various social media groups about how you can improve as a batch, really. And then I guess that the way you want to, actually get the message across is actually make the seniors think like, what is, again, like what I said earlier, like about legacy leaving, like what are you trying to leave behind in your school? If you're, like really trying to leave behind a good image of, the seniors of your batch, then really put in the effort to make it as positive as possible. So change can only come from within, and not from external factors, but from internal reasons. So really get to the core of the problem rather than solving it from the outside. Yeah.
Thank you, Raja. Now on to the next question from Semus D. Azib Mukri. What is your question?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Azimuri bin Azhar Aiman and I'm from Sekolah Menengah Sains Temun. I would like to ask, okay, I have two questions, but for the first question is from me and the second question is from my TKP. Okay, for the first question, I would like to ask Bro Raja, who was a KP for MCKK in 2019. Okay, Bro Raja, what values are most important to you as a leader in your school, especially to influence the students in positive vibes? Okay, that's all for the first question.
Sorry, can you repeat what is the initial part of the question?
Okay, I repeat, what values are most important to you as leader in your school, especially to influence the students in positive vibes?
So you're asking me,
Okay.
yeah. So you're asking me what's important for a KP to have to influence students in positive vibes. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think that really goes down to your personality, doesn't it? Well, if you're a head prefect and then you're known for your extroverted self, I guess. I mean, I can vouch that for Huda. I mean, if you're a really fun person like Huda, I guess then you can really bring that positive vibes to your leadership, if you get what I mean. And then if your goal is to try to get these positive vibes, I guess in a way it's a good goal to have, because what you will be achieving is that you'll be having fun. You'll be having fun not only for yourself, but with your followers, I guess, with the other students. Maybe it'll be much easier to cooperate if everyone gets along. So I guess maybe there's some really, really practical solutions to this. Just to actually, why don't you get along with your other students, with your other batchmates, with your juniors to, if you play sports, you can play sports together. And then probably maybe the easiest way is actually not to, again, assert yourself too high of a position compared to the rest. If you actually like bring yourself down, I guess, you really bring yourself down to the level of of the rest of the people, where they really don't see that much of disparity between you and the rest, other than actually coming to you for advice or asking about the certain rules or certain things they can or can't do, then that positive vibes will be implemented pretty much automatically. Of course, but it has to be combined with other factors, again, with your extroverted self, and then how you present yourself. How you really, put yourself out there to your students is the most important part. Yeah.
All right, that was a really good question, a really good answer from both of you. Let's move on to our next question from Star is and Adam. What's your question?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is my voice clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, I will start with a statement. There's currently a problem at my school where there are some prefect that doesn't have leadership skills and they get selected by chapap, or we call it here in SDA, with the teachers. For those who don't know what chapap is, it's actually short for public publicity, or where you show that you are good only in front of the teachers so that the teachers will recommend you. So there's currently a lot of this type of prefect at my school. And I want to ask, what is the best way to deal with these kinds of prefects?
Huda or Ainin? Or do you want me to take it?
Okay, maybe I don't
Okay,
know.
Huda.
Okay. Maybe I think this goes back to the point that Ainin put forward before, which is you need to you need to take the initiative and keep on reminding your other board members, your prefects, that you're doing this not just because of the teachers. You're doing this because of you yourself willingly to take up this job, and also you're doing this because you're the voice of your other students as well. So I think the most practical thing to do is to have a meeting with these prefects and actually have a heart-to-heart talk with them, to just remind them of their job scopes again, not just because of the teachers, but they're doing this because of the students as well, and making their lives, like their high school lives, much easier and all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Huda.
All right, thank you, Huda. On to our next question from Sister Tengku Ifa. What is your question?
Assalamualaikum. I'm Tengku Ifa. So basically, I want to talk about from the panelists, that the panelists talk about that we should put up our opinion on what rules we want to change, on rules that we don't agree, right? What if when we tell the school authorities about our opinion, there are some possibilities for them to reject those opinions, right? So, would you still fight for it, or would you just accept it? Because sometimes the school authorities just don't understand the need for us to change the rules and the rules that they need. So, thank you.
Panelists, anyone wants to answer?
Okay. I think that you cannot how things do not always go like what we want. So there are possibilities that your suggestions would be rejected. If that happens, then okay, just follow the new rules that the teachers want the student to follow, and see how it goes. Then only you can, don't make suggestions when you don't even try the new rules yet. Try it first so that you can see, and you have evidence. If it is not so good, then you can think of any way to make it better and tell the students, because you are the ones who experience the new rules and not them. So they should trust you. Yeah, I think experience the rules first, and then only you suggest. Do not suggest first just because you don't like it and you suggest new improvement immediately. Try it first, and then only you suggest.
Roger and Nurhuda, you want to add anything?
No, I think Aini made a brilliant point about experience, and evidence is really much needed, because for our point, we really think that some things that we experience, we hear the plight of the students, like, oh, we really don't want this to happen. But maybe, again, we have to reconsider the teacher's point of view. If it is a new rule being implemented, really experience it first, However, if it is a long established rule with maybe years of experience, I guess, then maybe you can then again employ, other means. I mean, I think most like my school, we have like a student union. So maybe use the power of the student union itself to like use a different pathway to get the teacher's attention.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just a suggestion, yeah.
All right, thank you, Ainin and Raja, for answering. Next, let's move on to a next question from ICOPS, Amirul Abshar. What's your question?
Bismillah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. My name is Amirul Abshar from SPP Integrasi Gubang Pasu. I have one question. My question is, how you gain the trust from the other student, such as Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, until Form 5, when some prefect do the same problem such as discipline problem, and maybe how
Yeah.
to gain the trust from teachers, as the other said, prefect also do the problems as a priority as KP or TKP or prefect. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amirul from ICOPS. You three have anything to say about this?
Wait, can you clarify, are you trying to get the teacher's trust, or are you trying to like influence the students, or are these both coming at the
Both.
same time? Oh, at the
Both.
same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Huda touched on it right earlier, and then like the practical like way for it. I think for teachers wise, gaining the trust of the teachers itself. Well, I think let's clarify that it's quite impossible to gain the trust of all teachers, right? Because like I mean, disclaimer, like from my school, like my prefect of what, there's no one single prefect that every teacher agreed upon to become prefect. So there will be voices against you, and then it makes sense because the way you behave looks differently to other teachers, and they might not appeal to you. But then respect with teachers in general comes with the way you the due diligence of your duties, I guess, really showing that you are trying to become a good KP or vice KP in your school, and then that just applies to whatever you have in your job scope, and then really executing them properly. That's for teachers, I guess. And then for students, again, if you're trying to influence juniors, right? I think for 1, Form 2, Form 3, I don't know how the system works in your SVPs, respective SVPs, but then like the thing about Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 is that they are really like malleable. Memang boleh bentuk lagi, Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. So like try to, I guess, bentuk them in the best way possible that you can. So really maybe if you have like problematic prefects, right? Then try to maybe, you have unproblematic prefects. You have these unproblematic prefects, like approach these Form 1, Form 2, Form 3s, and then they interact the most with these students. Then maybe get that distance between these. Maybe don't expose where you have problematic prefects to these juniors, where they actually like see these actions, these bad habits being practiced by a prefect. Okay, then try to put the image where you have really actually good prefects at the same time. So there are good apples and bad apples. So it really depends on what image you're trying to give to the Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3s. For Form 1, Form 5, again, it's really much more of an insight thing by that time. So really employ the help of your friends and your batch committee to really get in on, if there is a huge problem, really get in on the solution.
All right. Thank you, Raja Muhammad for answering. Then we have two more questions. Let's move on to Serpinta Izzah Rufaida. What is your question?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me?
Waalaikumsalam.
I'm from SBP Integrasi Rawang, and then I have two questions. The first thing is how to handle the small particular group in my batch to do the rules like other things other people do. First, that the question, and the second, do we need to have two different personalities like in dorm we have different, at Like, that's all. Thank you.
I think I can take that question. Yeah. Okay, so to handle these small groups that kind of influence the other students, I don't know, but maybe they are called cliques, I think. To handle these kind of groups, you kind of need to approach them like in another time, just approach the members of the group, I can say, and try to, talk about, just immerse yourself, just the same point as Raja have mentioned beforehand, like immerse yourself with the students as well, because when you have a good relationship with your followers, they tend to, follow like your instructions better, because they have a good relationship with you, and yeah, like you don't have any, as called beef or anything with them. So yeah, as I can say, you need to have a good relationship with those people and try to immerse, talk to them slowly, have a slow talk and all. And for the second question, uh, can you repeat the second question? I forgot. Hello.
We need to have two different personalities in different
Oh,
ways.
okay. Thank you. I can say I think you don't need to have two different personalities, because sometimes you can just be yourself at all times. Like, oh, suddenly she's like tense or strict at school, and then at the dorm she's like very gullible, and like she's kind of a prankster. Like you don't need to have like split personalities, because um at dorms, you should, just be yourself as well. If like you see something wrong at your dormitories, you need to be strict as well, and you need to give instructions. So I can say, like, yeah, just be yourself at all times, because problems or disciplinary problems can come at any time at your dorms or even at school. So yeah. Raja and Aileen, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah. I would like to add for the second question. Be yourself. People often misinterpret be yourself, because they would make that statement as a reason for them to act negatively. I mean, kan orang cakap be yourself. So, dah saya memang macam ni. Jadi be yourself. No. What you have to improve, you need to improve. But remember that your improvement is not because of your position, but please improve because of yourself. So that what you are improving will last long, and not just at school. I mean, if you're improving because you are holding this position, then when you go out during at your university or at work later on, then you will be like your old self, and that's not the point. That's totally off the point. So improve because of yourself and not because of your position. Be yourself, yes, but do not misinterpret that. Be yourself, but keep improving from day to day.
All right, thank you, Ainin and Nurhuda, for answering. Now we have SGS for question from SGS. Anyone wants to answer? Yeah, anyone? SGS,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Aino Maria. I am from SM Science Study. So my question is, what do you think are the leadership skills that a good leader should have? And the second question is, since our school are still new, what are your advice to us as a leader to build a strong bond with our alumni or community and other community? Thank you.
All right, thank you, SGS, for the question.
Yeah. I think for like I think leadership skills, again, you know, I mean like what we said earlier in the third question, like some rare traits. I mean, I touched on visionary and immersing yourself, and then there's all these other really good adjectives, punctuality and such. So I think what those generic traits are and those rare traits are, really just put them into practice, I guess. So yeah, it's not really a question of what, it's a question of how and why. I mean, you already know the what you want to what you have to become. So like really question like how you want to become that. And then you will come up with practical solutions to those questions, I guess. But I think the second question, right? Because I think your JD Science School, right? You think like you said, you're pretty new. So yeah, I think with alumni, yeah, that's a really important part because in SBP culture, I guess, or like pretty much good established schools, they really have good alumni systems with, um, you know, all boys or all girls of their school. So maybe for your school, I guess, I think like one of my friends did this at like at their college, like the way that's one of their manifestos was to actually increase the relationship between the alumni and the current students. So maybe for you as a student, what you can do, I guess, is to actually maybe reach out to the teachers. So maybe you can, if there is no fixed old Jilly's Science School All Students Association, maybe you can establish that. If you become the pioneer of that, and then people will actually come to join, because the reason there's no alumni maybe in the first place is because no one has the initiative to start. So if you made that initiative in the first place, then people will actually come back to the school, and then will come back to help you guys. Yeah, yeah, that's my advice. Adi, you're muted. Yeah.
So we plan to finish by 9:45. So hopefully your questions are quick and one question, one answer for one question, one panelist. Yeah. So moving on, let's go for asking. Who is asking? Guam's Harith Itkan.
Yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Harikom Ahmad Izzuddin. I am the head boy from the Sekolah Menengah Sains Gomusang, Kelantan. So my question is, how to encourage our school community to love being at school? How to create the spirit to love to being at school? That is my question.
Huda, anyone answer that? I can't answer that because those who MCKK don't want to leave MCKK, so maybe another school can answer.
I think I can answer that. Okay, so how to make people love go to school? I guess you can actually, create a bond or create a spirit among your friends or your batch itself. Like if you do something together with your friends, you tend to feel like it's fun. So I can say it depends on you yourself. Like if you go to school willingly, or I have the mindset to go to school to get more knowledge and to make more friends. Um, it's very important, first of all, to have a good mindset and start your day positively. If you start your day being angry, being having negative vibes, that's going to affect you the whole day. So I can say daily start your day with a fresh smile and all, and have a good relationship with your friends because that's the group you go to school with. So yeah, I think that's the way, I guess, to go to school with a happy vibe. Aini, do you have anything to add? Oh, sorry. I guess yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you, Nurfada. So, in my opinion, uh, having creating more memories is what's important in building a spirit from the school. Like my school, we have cheers where, for example, rugby matches. This whole school will go to the field and cheer for our team. So create memories, create good vibes with our friends. Hopefully, this will make everyone's relationship way much better. So that was a really good question. That was a really good question. So moving on to Star, Nazrul Adib, and Harif Sufyan. What is your question?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So, what is your thought about the student who doesn't want to get on the same boat in terms of studying or following the school? And I know that as a good leader, we should try to take everyone with us. And if we already tried to give them advice, give them counseling, and on, but they still stubborn. So, what is the final result? That's all my questions.
Thank you, Nazrul Adib, for your brilliant question.
I need to do anything that.
Roger, I think you can take that.
I take it. Okay. So basically, I mean, last resort, right, for students who, again, from our part, I guess, is to continuously do it. But then your question is the end goal. We continuously advise students, but in the end, they really don't want to follow. So maybe, I think you have to get personal with them. For me, I would get personal with them, like really ask them, like, what is the reason you are unwilling to do this so and so? Maybe there are some reasons that they tell their friends, but they don't tell us why they're doing these things. You get what I mean? So maybe like really for practicality wise, employ like your counselors. Because like counselors like my old school, they're actually really proactive in approaching certain students who quote unquote seem problematic. Quote unquote seem problematic to like, really ask them like, why are you doing this? And then they will get down to the bottom of it, because counselors, they are there for that exact reason, to actually, bring change to the students, right? Especially to students that need help. So I guess if you have like, if you have a really good personal relationship with the student, you can approach them yourself personally. If you don't, ask your friends who have personal relationships with them. Again, it's like a bridge game. Just get connections where you can. Unless last resort is actually employ and help counselors, which I think was really useful back at MCKK. And I hope it's as useful as it is in your respective schools to actually, get that end result you are hoping for.
Thank you, Raja. Now let's move on to what is this? SMS SMJ, Iqbal and Emilia.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear your voice.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And my name is Iqbal, KP from Science Sultan Muhammad Jiwa Science Secondary School. And as we know that we as a Form 5 student and we as a leader, we have so many work and we get more busier as we want to work for the preparation for the SPM. And this made us to find someone who is reliable from Form 4 student as our backup or as our assist to make some works. So the question is, what we need to do if we cannot find who is reliable or who is as a hope for the new lining for the leadership to back up our works. Thank you.
Anyone wants to answer that?
I'll try. Okay. May I ask, what do you mean? You cannot find. I mean, how do you know if that person can be your backup or not? How do you know?
Actually, I know is when I give the some tasks or some works they need to do, but what they do is they do not don't do it properly, so they just do it as they do. They do it completely. That I mean.
Okay. I think in that case, you, um, I will not say experiment, but okay, you experiment all of those candidates, but as a last option, you can just pick one, the best one out of them all, then give let them try, let them try. Maybe now you won't be able to see their true potential, but if you really give them the chance to really hold the position, maybe they can actually do the work. So give them a chance. Just pick the best out of them and give that person the chance. You won't trust me, you won't find most the most perfect candidate that can be your backup, but you can always find a person who are willing to improve, and find that person, pick that person. As long as he is willing to improve himself, then he's the best candidate.
All right, that was an amazing answer from Anin Muhammad. Let's move on to our second last question from Sister Danish Ikram and Zaharatun Humaira.
Hello. Am I clear?
Yeah, you're clear. Yeah, you're clear.
My question is how to ensure the informations like rules come from teachers spread out clearly among the prefect, because our school, yeah, have two genders, boys and girls. How to ensure there is no misunderstanding between boys and girls among the prefect?
Oh God, I think all the panelists are one gender schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then your I think your dilemma is orders reaching to boys and girls the same way. Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like, I mean, practically, if you're in a meeting, right, you have your head boy, you're the head girl at the same place. You have one teacher giving that order, and then if you have like all the same, that meeting employs all the rest of the prefects as well, that's boys and girls, right? I think, practically once you really get that order, okay, then you sit down like amongst yourselves, and then you decide on how you want to um give out the order or give out the instruction from teachers, standardize that between boys and girls to make sure there's no misunderstanding. I think, yeah, that's the most practical answer, I guess. If because, yeah, it's a gender, I don't know if it's a gender thing, but I think that will make sense.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Raja Muhammad Harith. Now, last and final question from Sasim, Ikwanuddin, and Halida.
Okay. Can you hear clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. That's my question. We as the head boy that busy to lead the school, and we as the student to busy to take SPM examination in this year. So, can you share your ways to balance your academic and leadership in your school? That's clear.
Okay, I think I can answer that question. So balancing your task, your leadership position, and also your academics at the same time. We touched a bit about this before, but I can say, yeah, this um, it would go along your way. Like your burden is not completely on you. because you have your other board members as well. So first of all, task delegation is very important, very vital. So you need to remember that if you delegate your tasks among all your board members, you have your secretary, you have your vice head prefect as well, and you have your other prefect members who are not high coms. So you can delegate all the tasks, and that would make your your leadership tasks easier, much more uh, uh, l- I can say less burdenful. So, and at the same time, if you can't go to class, reach to your friends, and all of that would go along the way. Just like Raja said, leadership, being a leader and like being a student itself, it kind of goes along the way because being a leader is a different part of your high school life, and being a student is a different part as well. So yeah, I think that's all.
All right, thank you, Norhuda, for answering. All right, then. There's no more questions anymore. Before I end this, I'd like to say thank you to three of our panelists, Anin Muhammad, Norhuda, and also Raja Muhammad, for being here, for sacrificing their time to enlighten us all. So, and I'd also like to say thank you to uh, all the participants here for watching, and I hope you learned something from this dialogue. My name is Shadi Zachary bin Rudin. I'll be passing the camera on to our director, Iyad Takif bin Khairuddin. Yeah, and yeah, let's go.
Thank you. All right. Hello. Thank you, Shahid Zachary. So I have three announcements. Number one is our closing ceremony will broadcast by 10 a.m. So I'll give the YouTube link by then. Secondly, thank you to the panelists again. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to participants as well, not only in regards to this program, but also thank you for following through the whole program throughout the 2 days that we had together. And the third announcement is I really hope that any points of feedback is forwarded, any apa-apa komen boleh forward dalam group yang kita ada. Okay? Apa-apa feedback. Alright. So closing ceremony will start at 10 a.m. Thank you again to the panelists. Thank you so much for hopping in on your normal Sunday. Kita berjumpa pada closing ceremony lah. Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and good luck.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, boss.
Yeah, kalau if you
Thank you, Bye. Love you.
Thank you, guys.
Guys.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Ini last meeting kita. Macam sebab closing tak ada dah. Okay, untuk semua yang ada lagi, thank you. Hi Adit. So sebab ni last Webex meeting. Yalah, kalau nak pergi closing ceremony boleh. Ni kita boleh sembang santai.